Okay, so I always start with the ears. The length of the ears really sets the head, so with a 10 blade, I'll work out the top third of the ear, run my thumb down so that I don't take off too much by accident if the dog moves, hold the ear across my fingers, turn on the 10 blade, and then laying it flat, clip the outside and the inside of the ear tip. While I'm there as well, what I'll do is flip the ear back on itself and try and take out all those little straggly bits that grow in inside the ear canal, because they can really affect the neatness of the head when you're finished. Now I've got that tip clipped, I'm going to edge just that top third of the ear that we clipped. So just the clipped area, you need to keep the fringing on the bottom side of the ear. Always working up towards the tip of the ear because it's safer and you're pointing the scissors away from the head. You got a nice pointy ear tip. Also want to note when you are edging the ears, you can see that my thumb is protecting the ear leather. So I physically cannot cut that dog's ear without cutting myself first. So now going on to the eyes, you want to drag up the hair from in front of the eye, heading towards the ear. And then you're going to take, with thinning scissors, take anything that's sort of overhanging the vision. So you don't want to take any eyebrow or any of the beard hair, just that little bit in front of the eyes so you can see well. And you don't want to keep your scissors nice and flat against the eye, you don't want to be poking them in towards the eye. On a show dog, you would leave a lot of the hair there because they need it for protection, for the job to be fit for the purpose of the job that they do. But with a pet dog, you want to be able to see really well because we don't see them that often. So with the opposite eye, I either go down across over my hand and go down the other way, or upwards, but never pointing the scissors towards the eye. So you can see it's just a small amount of hair we want to take out there. There we go. So you can see really well. So holding all the hair down on the bottom half of the head, pull the first section forwards. What you want to do is go from the corner of one eye over in a half moon shape to the corner of the other eye. So I always use thinners when I'm doing a Westie head because I prefer that kind of not perfectly chopped look. I prefer it to look a little bit more textured. Check that line from the corner of one eye, across to the middle, and then back down the other side. When I'm happy with that, I'll bring forward another little section and meet that line. Willow's such a good girl. And I'm going to continue doing that until I can drag the whole head forwards and she can still see really well. Make sure each section is really nice and neat and you're happy with it before you move on to the next step. Otherwise you'll be coming to and from. So this part I just call the reverse visor because it's just like doing a visor but in reverse. So you want to drag all the hair back over the occiput, and then anything overhanging you want to take off. Nice straight line, you don't want to blend it, it should look like a lollipop. So just down the side of the ears, don't take all the hair off from the back of the ear. Just a nice straight line from ear across the occiput to the opposite side of the ear. So now you've got the front and the back done, we want to do the middle. So you can see where we clipped our ear tips earlier, we want to match the length of that with the top of the head so that everything's the same length with just these tiny little ear tips sticking out the top. So what I tend to do is grab all of the head hair, all of the top of the head hair into my 2 front fingers, and then I'm going to do a half moon shape. So you can see where you left your visor at the front, and you can see where you left your reverse visor, and you can do a nice rounded shape from the front across to the back in a nice little curve. And when you let that go, it should give you a nice natural curve on top of the head. If you need to take more off, then you can go ahead and take more off. Now I'm going to set the ears into the head. So combing everything out to the side, I'm going to do 2 straight lines and we're going to end up with little triangle shapes. So from the floor straight up to where we clip that ear, you do a straight line, parallel line, and then you'll end up with a little triangle. Same with the front edge. Pull that ear forwards and then go straight line down to the floor and you should end up with little triangles. So it should match right into where you clipped the tip with that 10. See the little triangles? Then your ears are really nice and neat. Make sure you're holding on to the ear when you're doing this because they can flick their ears really quickly before you notice and you can have an accident. Now I'm going to work on the side of the face. So as you can see, I've clipped out the under the jaw there, and I'm going to comb everything down, and I'm going to do a nice circle shape, like half moon shape, from the nose down under the eye, and then back up into where we clipped our ear. So make sure you're leaving some chin hair. If you just go across where I just showed you there, when you look from the front, he's not going to have any chin. So make sure you've left a bit of chin hair. You're going to make a nice curve down to the eye. The eye should be your longest point. And then from that point, you're going up, up, up into that little fringing that we left on the ear, that little triangle. So again, just going over it until you're happy that it's nice and neat. And drag it down again. Really get your comb in there and drag all that stuff under the jaw, because sometimes it looks nice, but then when the dog's moved around a little bit, some little bits come out. And then we're going to go from the other side. So it's the same concept, but this time you're going from that little triangle of ear hair down to the eye, being your longest point, and then back up towards the nose. And then when you look from the front, you want to make sure that they're both even on both sides. So you can use chunkers or blenders for this. I'm using blenders that need a sharpen by the looks of it. Whatever you're more comfortable with. So checking both sides. Bit of faffing around to make sure they're perfect. So once the sides of the head are nice and symmetrical, we're going to pull them out to the side. So using your comb or your fingers, drag all that hair up and over the head. At the moment we've got a bit of a rugby ball shape because we've done the top of the head and we've done the bottom of the head, but we've just got those sides sticking out. So lift them up. She's got a really lovely coat that just stands up where I put it. So if you need a bit of hairspray or a bit of chalk, then go for it. So being really careful of the ear tips, you need to lift everything, and all you should have is a perfect round ball with the ear tips sticking out the side. So I'm just really lightly do a little bit of combing, a little bit of scissoring, a little bit of combing, a little bit of scissoring until you've got it nice and textured and nice and round, so you bring in those edges in. This side is always a little bit easier for me being right-handed. What I'm always saying to my students is just do a couple of little snips, then comb it again, or brush it, or brush it up with your fingers again. Because if you just go for it and take big chunks out, when the hair lays flat again, sometimes you can have a hole in the coat. And then just keep chipping away at it, looking for symmetry on both sides, using your comb or your fingers. Oh, big yawn. So remember, this is a pet Westie style, so it's nice and short, nice and easy maintenance. Got it all out of her mouth there, so she's not going to get it in her food and water. Nice and round, so it's still got some elements of a breed standard to it.